Good evening. This is Bronson's By Any Means Necessary Fantasy Baseball talk for Sunday night. It's been a minute since I made one, besides the first half recap videos that I made earlier in the week. But it's been a while since we talked, like day-to-day fantasy baseball. So I know this is old news, but Ronald Acuna, big loss. He was supposed to be the starting outfielder for the National League and ended up getting hurt. Torn ACL, going to put him sideline him for the rest of this year, likely a little bit of next year too. Big blow for not only him and the Braves, but also for just baseball fans in general, because he was definitely one of the more talented young players of the next generation, along with Tatis, Guerrero Jr., Shohei. I mean, baseball is in good hands. A lot of excitement to come for the next generation, the next decade or so of baseball, and I couldn't be more excited for the future of the sport myself. A big blow. I'm sure you've already kind of moved on, kind of already replaced him with some guys, but if you haven't, I've got a couple of names for you coming on later in this steaming hot segment. This is our first steaming and streaming segment of the second half of the season. So we also, football season is creeping up on us, and the NBA draft, the real NBA draft, is creeping up on us. So it's gonna be, I'm gonna be probably stepping up more videos in the next couple of weeks, just because I want to start working my way into football. I also want to kind of do because like the NBA draft, for whatever reason, I don't know why, it's just always been like my favorite thing. So I definitely nerd out on that. I'm definitely gonna be doing a mock draft for myself. Also, it'll be helpful for those of you who play Dynasty basketball, who draft before the real draft. So I think my Dynasty draft, we're having it after the draft, which I like that setup better, because then like what situations the guys are gonna be in before you pick them, and so stuff like that. So it can change the dynamic of the draft considerably if you do it that way. Because a guy could be a good prospect but end up in a less desirable situation. Let's just throw a name out there. Anybody who ends up in Sacramento is going to be less desirable to me than they otherwise would be if they ended up in a franchise with some direction, such as San Antonio, or I don't know, what's another team in the late lottery or early mid first round. Houston or something. They got a couple of late first round picks. Anybody who ends up there as a late first rounder is going to be a little bit more desirable to me than some other late first rounders, for example. So, because they're going to get playing time in Houston. Anyways, let's get to it. Francisco Lindor has hit the disabled list. You're going to need some shortstops to replace him. I've got a couple of those for you in the steaming section as well. Tomorrow, Monday, is also the beginning of a new matchup, which seems like this last matchup has been forever, because it's been 2 weeks. But the All-Star break is usually bad for me, but it actually was pretty okay this year. I didn't get smoked in most of my matchups like I normally would. There was a couple that came down to the wire. A couple I had leads, big leads, going into the All-Star break, but they've caught up here in this last few days, so I had to sweat that out. But luckily, most of them I did not blow it. And tomorrow, Monday, is Shohei Ohtani day, so be sure to get him in there as a starting pitcher for you. And lastly, the Trevor Bauer situation doesn't seem to be nearing an end anytime soon, so we're gonna have to. He's definitely not someone you want to drop, because you don't want someone else in your league to benefit from him when he does come back. But it's really hard to carry a guy on your injured list when we've all been dealing with so many injuries all year already. You kind of want that injured list spot to be for somebody who's actually hurt, someone who has a return date in the near future. Trevor Bauer is out indefinitely. It's really tough. It's a really tough situation to be in, especially for me. I have Trevor Bauer. Well, okay, I shouldn't say especially for me, but I do have Trevor Bauer in my money league, so it's kind of a bigger deal to me. He was my ace that I drafted in the second round. I've drafted Christian Yelich in the first round. He's been a disappointment. If you saw my videos earlier this week, you would already know that. And Trevor Bauer in the second round. So kind of, it's no wonder my team is hovering around 500, around the mediocre line. But I'm hoping to at least get into the playoffs. At least have a semi-respectable showing in the league this season. I went to watch the Space Jam sequel earlier tonight, and I gotta say it was not great. And I got a Facebook ban, so I can't really react to anything on Facebook, which I'm getting tired of this stuff. I'm really ready to leave Facebook. The only problem is that I'm having is I need Messenger, because that's how I stay in contact with my fantasy basketball dynasty league mates at this point in time. But I'm thinking I'm just going to add my backup account to the group chat so I can delete my main account and just get off of it, and then I can just stay on Facebook for that one thing. But haven't done that yet. Probably should soon. But anyways, I can still see all the stuff on Facebook all the talk about how the Space Jam sequel wasn't made for us adults, it was made for children. No, that's bullcrap. It was made for us adults who've loved the first Space Jam, grew up, and now we want to see we wanted to see a better sequel than we got. LeBron James, the actor, was terrible. I know that he moved to LA to be in Hollywood, to get some acting, take some acting classes. He did a good job in Trainwreck. I remember that he did some good acting in that. So it seems like all his acting lessons have completely fallen by the wayside. He's back to being looking like the 14-year-old freshman high school kid who is in his first play. He was terrible to watch, and I don't know. It was an entertaining movie, though. I like basketball, I like sports, I like Looney Tunes. It was nostalgic. It's cool to see all the ways they intertwined the WB. And I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but I can't believe they tried to do what they did to a certain character. But overall, it wasn't a great movie, but I'm sure kids will like it. So I'm giving it a 3 out of 5, which is pretty average, pretty mediocre, but it's not the worst movie I've seen this year. So it has that going for it. Let's get into the importance of steaming. 4 steaming hot players to add right now. A couple outfielders, a couple of shortstops to replace Acuna and Lindor. Outfielder starting with Jock Peterson. He just got traded from the Cubs to the Braves, where he should theoretically be an everyday player. That's what was supposed to happen with the Cubs. And he's theoretically going to be Ronald Acuna's real life replacement. So why not him be your fantasy replacement for Ronald Acuna, as well as he is hitting well right currently now. And we've seen in the past that Jock Peterson can really be productive when given the opportunity. And David Peralta, a guy who's definitely been running really hot and really cold all season. I don't want to sound sexist or make an insensitive joke here, but his nickname could probably be Menopause, because he's got the hot flashes, cold flashes, but he is hovering right around the 50% ownership threshold, and he's hitting decently well right now. He's another guy who's given us about a decade of productivity in his past. There's no reason to doubt that he can't continue to be a decent outfield addition to your team. A couple of shortstops, starting with Paul DeJong of the Cardinals. Yes, Paul DeJong. I was a big fan of Paul DeJong coming into the season. Kind of moved on from him quickly, as he just didn't do anything great. He's got a lot of power, but he's not hitting with the best average. But he's hot right now, and if you need a temporary replacement for Lindor, he's probably the best option out there, who's widely available. Also, on a lesser scale, Kyle Farmer of the Reds will give you versatility all along the infield, but specifically right now, you need a shortstop. So Kyle Farmer is another guy who's decently hot right now. Some streaming pitchers for you tomorrow on Monday. I've got 4, possibly 5. I was going to put Tony Gonsolin on here because at the beginning of the day, his ownership was under 50%. But now, because he's such a popular streamer for tomorrow, he's actually been added at a significant rate that's got him over the 50% threshold. But if Tony Gonsolin happens to be available in your league, he's a great streamer, probably the best streamer for you tomorrow. 4 others to consider if you can't get Tony Gonsolin, based on chronological order from the start of their game. Tomorrow we're going to go with Casey Mize. I know he hasn't looked great his last couple starts. He hasn't gone deep, but that was by design. The Tigers did that on purpose. He's still a very promising young arm who, was a former number 1 overall pick. So obviously he's got all the potential in the world, and he's looked overall pretty good this year. Rangers are a team that, no one's afraid of. Great rebound start for him coming into this second half of the season. Next, we got Vladimir Gutierrez against the Mets. I know he didn't have any strikeouts in his last start, but I think that's going to change tomorrow. I think the Mets, the Mets are overhyped because they're a New York team. They're not as good as people think. They're not hitting super well right now, especially with Lindor out, even though he wasn't even hitting well anyways. But Conforto's not doing great. Jeff McNeil's been struggling all year. A great opportunity for Vladimir Gutierrez to start the second half of the season off well. And we got Ryan Yarbrough of the Rays against the Orioles at home in Tampa Bay, so very pitcher-friendly environment against a less than stellar lineup. And lastly, we got Cole Irvin of Oakland facing Shohei Ohtani and the Angels. Yes, there's always a threat of Shohei Ohtani, but the rest of the Angels lineup with Trout and Rendon out, there's really nothing else. Maybe Jared Walsh, but Jared Walsh, overall the Angels aren't a team that should scare you. Cole Irvin's having a very pleasantly surprising first half. Let's hope it continues in the second half of the season. He's probably, in my opinion, of the 4. No, I'd say Casey Mize is probably the best streaming option. Cole Irvin next. I'd go Gonsolin, Mize, Irvin if I had to rank them 1, 2, 3, 4 streamers tomorrow. But that's it. That's the whole video. Thanks to those who are subscribed. I got 5 whole subscribers. Cool. It's like I know some people watched and hopefully enjoyed my videos from the surprises and disappointments from the first half of the season. And have a blessed day. Oh, tomorrow I'm kind of a big deal for it now. I got an E on my badge, so it makes me an escort. It means I can escort the new hires around the airport. So tomorrow I'm gonna have a trainee. So I'm actually kind of moving up in the world a little bit. I'm excited. I'm nervous. So I've always thought of myself as a guy who'd be a good leader, but I've never really been given the opportunity to be a leader, a teacher, a trainer, kind of in that position. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it's, I came back to this company because this is one of the very few companies that's ever really appreciated me and the qualities that I bring to the table. And so it's good to see that coming back. It's looking like the right decision. Man, it's hot in here. And they're giving me some responsibility and some, giving me the opportunity to train new people, which speaks loudly about my abilities and ability to do the job and how they feel about me, how they appreciate me. So I'm looking forward to that. But good luck with the second half of the season. Hope you guys get to the playoffs. Have a blessed day. He's loving nacho fries.